Wow. Okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through that.
It looks like the spotlight just got a lot hotter for Ashton Kutcher. And this time, it's not for a movie role. Word is quickly spreading that Ashton's name has surfaced in connection with the federal investigation surrounding Sean Diddy Combs. Yep, the same investigation that's been unfolding like a Hollywood thriller might now include Kutcher as a possible co-conspirator. And the internet is losing its mind. Suddenly, all those recent Ashton-shaped silences are starting to make sense. No red carpet sightings, no quirky interviews, not even a blurry paparazzi photo. The man has practically vanished from public life, and fans are beginning to wonder if his vanishing act isn't just a PR decision, but maybe a legal one. Fueling the speculation even more is a chilling detail from a past case Ashton was involved in. One where he went to a woman's apartment, looked through a window, and thought he saw spilled wine on the floor. But according to prosecutors, what he actually saw was blood. That detail alone has people revisiting old events with new suspicion. And if that wasn't enough, internet sleuths have started digging into his history and unearthed a lesser-known chapter from his high school years. Apparently, Ashton wasn't always the squeaky clean heartthrob we saw on that 70s show. Back in the day, he reportedly broke into his school, not as a prank, but to steal money and cheat. That incident earned him a third-degree burglary charge, a felony. Yes, that Ashton Kutcher. So while fans once saw him as the charming goofball turned tech-savvy humanitarian, a different picture is starting to emerge, one far more complicated and potentially much darker. Is Ashton really caught up in something bigger? Has he been keeping a low profile to avoid the growing storm? Only time, and possibly a few court documents, will tell. But one thing's certain, this Hollywood plot twist is just getting started.
It is mourning the loss of Brittany Murphy this morning. The 32-year-old actress died on Sunday from what officials say appear to be natural causes. An autopsy is planned, reportedly against the wishes of her husband.
Fast forward to Ashton Kutcher's Hollywood glow-up. And he wasn't just climbing the ranks as an actor. He was deep in the scene, co-hosting some of the most exclusive, off-the-record parties with none other than Diddy himself. Yep, we're talking about those infamous all-white soirees. The same ones now tangled up in disturbing allegations that are shaking the industry to its core. But here's where the plot thickens. Old whispers, the kind folks hoped were long forgotten, are resurfacing, and they're far from innocent. One claim raising eyebrows again? Ashton allegedly had a romantic connection with Lindsay Lohan when she was just 16. That age gap? People aren't just questioning it, they're flat out calling it out. And now, those once dismissed suspicions about Ashton being more than just a bystander in Diddy's world? They're starting to feel less like rumors and more like pieces of a much darker puzzle clicking into place.
Me, I think what makes it work is, I know...
Is it you're so freaking hot?
No, it's being able to do scenes with him and being in it with him.
Then there's the chilling case of Ashley Ellerin, one of Ashton Kutcher's former flames, whose life ended in tragedy. The events of that night have always raised more questions than answers. Ashton's account? It never fully added up. And now, in light of everything unraveling, that story is being pulled back into the public eye with renewed suspicion. But the real bombshell? Mila Kunis. Word on the wire is that she's officially filed for divorce. After years of standing by Ashton, sources claim she's finally had enough. And this growing scandal might have been the final nail in the coffin. So now the questions come pouring in. Is Ashton already in federal custody, quietly swept away while the headlines focus elsewhere? Was he more than just a bystander in Diddy's dark orbit? Perhaps even a hidden partner? And maybe most haunting of all, what did Mila learn that made her run, not walk, away from the marriage?
I am the kind of person that actually learns more from their mistakes than from their successes. So all the great things we did in the past, we're going to do again.
Most people still picture Ashton Kutcher as the goofy guy from sitcoms or the smooth talker on Shark Tank. But that polished image? It's been smoke and mirrors from the start. Way before Hollywood came calling, Ashton had already started walking a questionable path. Back in his senior year of high school, he didn't just get into trouble. He broke into his own school. Not for a prank, but to steal money and cheat on schoolwork. When the law caught up with him, he was slapped with third-degree burglary, a serious felony, not just some slap on the wrist. That one decision shattered his future before it had even begun. He lost college scholarships, a clean record, and even the right to vote. All of it, gone. But here's the twist that rubs many people the wrong way. Once Ashton rose to fame and fortune, his past suddenly vanished. With money in hand and power in reach, that felony, poof, wiped clean. His voting rights, magically reinstated. It's a reminder of how differently the justice system can treat the wealthy. And Ashton? He played that game like a seasoned vet. He gave college a shot after that, enrolling at the University of Iowa. But Hollywood had other plans, and his time on campus didn't last long.
People were shocked to find out that Ashton and Mila, who kind of have branded themselves as activists for victims.
In his own words, Ashton Kutcher was living wild, partying hard, making noise, and spiraling through a reckless lifestyle. It got so out of hand, his own neighbors had enough. He was kicked out of his apartment for being too disruptive. So what did he do? Instead of slowing down, he dropped out of college, packed his bags, and ran straight to New York to chase a modeling career. There, he shared the spotlight with future stars like Smallville's Tom Welling. It looked like a classic. Glow up from small-town Iowa to the glitzy runways of Manhattan. But that transformation? It came with shadows. One shadow that still lingers. The tragic death of Ashley Ellerin, referred to earlier as Ashley Wren, a 22-year-old fashion student and Kutcher's girlfriend at the time. The night she was found dead has haunted headlines for years. Ashton told police he showed up late to her house, looked through the window, and noticed red stains on the carpet. He assumed it was spilled wine and left. He didn't knock. He didn't call 911, he just walked away. By morning, Ashley was found inside, murdered. That timeline has never sat right with people. For years, critics and internet sleuths alike have questioned, who sees something like that and doesn't act? Why didn't he call for help, even out of basic concern? These questions haven't faded. In fact, as more scrutiny lands on Ashton's past and his inner circle, Ashley's story is being dragged back into the spotlight, this time with even more urgency.
Walks away.
He said, within any 3 blocks of where we're standing, you can go buy somebody. And I was floored by the notion of that.
For years, people have quietly questioned Ashton Kutcher's connection to the Ashley Ellerin case, but she wasn't the only one in his circle whose life ended in tragedy. Brittany Murphy, who had once been close to Ashton, died suddenly at just 32. The official cause was pneumonia and anemia, but then, only months later, her husband Simon Monjack died in the same house, with the exact same explanation. Too similar to dismiss. Soon after, Ashton resigned from his role as chairman of the board at his nonprofit. The letter was long, the timing suspicious. Online, speculation exploded, with his name now surfacing alongside Diddy's growing legal storm. Britney's case is getting a second look. What once seemed like a sad coincidence now feels like something deeper, possibly even a cover-up, and it didn't stop there. Kim Porter, Diddy's ex and mother of his kids, also died unexpectedly in 2018. The cause? Pneumonia. Same story, same eerie familiarity, like Britney, like Simon, all with connections to the same powerful people. Suddenly, Ashton's clean-cut image is cracking. That polished Hollywood persona now sits uncomfortably against growing rumors. Insiders claim he wasn't just attending Diddy's infamous all-white parties. He was co-hosting them, deep in the inner circle, trusted with business, with secrets. The pattern is forming, and Ashton is no longer in the clear. While he kept smiling for the cameras, some say he was walking the shadows, right next to Diddy. Diddy didn't just party with Ashton, he trusted him with business, secrets, everything. Why? Because Ashton was close with Danny Masterson. Yes, the same Danny now behind bars for horrifying crimes. When their connection surfaced, it was like pulling a thread. Suddenly, the whole circle started unraveling. Diddy had pulled Ashton, Danny, and Wilmer Valderrama into his inner circle, calling them the new Hollywood Rat Pack. But this wasn't just rich guys clinking glasses. These men were jet-setting, hosting hush-hush events, and allegedly handling things far away from public view. And then comes the twist. Ashton reportedly introduced Diddy to Adam Neumann, the controversial WeWork founder who tanked a billion-dollar empire with cult-like vibes and reckless spending. Behind the scenes, Diddy allegedly walked away with a quiet slice of that chaos. No contracts, just whispered deals and invisible cash. But when money, power, and silence mix, you don't just form friendships, you build walls. Walls that hide secrets, erase questions, and scrub receipts from existence. Want proof? Try searching New Hollywood Rat Pack with those names. Ashton, Danny, Wilmer, Diddy. It's like the internet got wiped. And now that Diddy's under federal investigation, Ashton and Mila have gone quiet, moving in stealth, distancing themselves like Diddy was just a passing acquaintance. Same playbook they used when Danny got convicted. Years of friendship, trips, posts, all vanished. Deleted like it never happened. It's not just damage control, it's a full-on rebrand. This isn't just about unfollowing someone on Instagram. Ashton and Mila have long-standing ties to Scientology. Not just acquaintances, but close friends and even staff reportedly connected to the organization. And Scientology isn't just a belief system, it's a power structure known for controlling narratives, silencing dissent, and making inconvenient stories disappear. If you've ever wondered how major controversies around Ashton or Diddy vanish, without a trace, that's your clue. When Ashton was once asked about Diddy's infamous parties, he gave a sly smile and said, "There's a lot I can't tell you." That one comment lit up the internet. People started connecting dots. Freaky parties, exploitation, and allegations now front and center in Diddy's legal battles. Then there's Thorn, Ashton's nonprofit created to combat online child exploitation. On the surface, it looked heroic. But behind the scenes, things didn't add up. Heavily redacted records, strange partnerships, and connections to individuals now tangled in the Diddy probe. It's gotten so murky that people are filing FOIA requests just to learn what's really going on. Then, without warning, Ashton stepped down from Thorn. No big announcement, no explanation, just gone. Word is the heat was circling back to him, and he knew it was about to get dark. Now, shifting to Davida Chase, the actress from The Ring. Most think she simply faded from the spotlight, but the truth is, she spiraled, and whispers say it all. Started after attending one of those secretive parties hosted by Diddy and Ashton. It all began the night she received an invitation to one of those elite parties, the kind hosted by big names like Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. She was far too young to be immersed in that world, and from that evening forward, her life took a sharp, troubling turn. Legal troubles piled up, substance-related charges followed, and eventually, jail time became part of her reality. By 2019, Davao Chase's name was making headlines, but not the glamorous kind typical of Hollywood. Mere months after a substance-related arrest, she was charged with a misdemeanor. Through it all, someone from her past shared their side. "I dated him when I was 16 and 17. I still love him, and he's a close friend. That's why the false rumors hit me so hard. They just didn't fit him, completely out of character. He was my first real boyfriend, but he didn't take my virginity." Jump ahead to early 2024, and she was back behind bars after yet another run-in with the law in Hollywood. Within less than a decade, this young woman went from flashing cameras and red carpets to the cold reality of prison cells. But what's striking is that people aren't framing her story as a simple fall from grace. They're recognizing it for what it truly is: trauma. Something dark allegedly occurred that night at the party. Something so deep and damaging that recovery isn't straightforward. That night changed her fundamentally, and not for the better, but she's not alone. The whispers on the street suggest that what happened to her may be part of a broader, hidden narrative of pain. Ashton Kutcher's name keeps popping up in a troubling pattern. Allegedly, he was involved with Lindsay Lohan when she was just 16. And when that relationship ended, Lindsay didn't simply move on. She found herself entwined with Wilmer Valderrama. The pieces start to fit together, revealing a disturbing inner circle with a very specific, unsettling pattern. Ashton wasn't a distant bystander. He was deeply embedded in it. Now everyone's heard about Diddy's legal battles, lawsuits, piling up like a precarious Jenga tower. But when you connect the dots between Ashton, Wilmer, Danny Masterson, it's hard to chalk it up to coincidence. This looks more like a network of enablers. Let's focus on Wilmer Valderrama because his history is particularly troubling. Take Mandy Moore, for example. She was only 15 when she met Wilmer, who was already 20. They both initially insisted nothing inappropriate happened, but years later, Mandy confirmed the relationship did begin while she was still underage. Then, in one of the most unsettling interviews ever aired, Wilmer appeared on Howard Stern's show, boasting about being the first to sleep with Mandy. He laughed it off as some kind of locker room tale, but Mandy later revealed that wasn't true at all. She said the lie was deeply hurtful and left her feeling disrespected. Imagine having your first love turned into a public joke by someone you once trusted. Next came Lindsay Lohan, the early 2000s paparazzi darling, the IT girl. Wilmer was 24, Lindsay just 17, and once again they insisted they were just friends. But the moment Lindsay turned 18, suddenly they were officially a couple. That birthday loophole? Creepy and calculated. Fast forward to 2010, and Wilmer was back at it, this time with Demi Lovato. Same story. We're just friends. He's like a big brother, they said. But then, as soon as Demi turned 18, the status changed. Boom, full-fledged couple. Wilmer was 29 then, more than a decade older. Later, Demi opened up and admitted their relationship started before she was legal. This is no coincidence. It's a disturbing pattern. Mandy, Lindsay, Demi, each timeline unnervingly close. The midnight birthday switch repeats like clockwork. But in 2022, Demi took a stand and did something truly powerful. Tools, she broke her silence the way she knew best, through music. Dropping the haunting track 29, Demi's lyrics cut deep without naming names. When asked, she said bluntly, "The song says it all." Yes, he probably took her virginity. Then the digging began. An ex-employee revealed Wilmer Valderrama co-owned a bar where underage girls were regulars and staff were told not to check IDs at Wilmer's tables. This wasn't ignorance. It was a system to protect predators, with management complicit in keeping it quiet. Even Megan Good, known for her spiritual image, was reportedly an investor and allegedly aware or profiting from it. With Wilmer owning the bar and Ashton Kutcher as his longtime business partner from that 70s show, it's hard to believe Ashton was clueless. Whispers say the bar became a hunting ground for the vulnerable. One woman recalled meeting Wilmer at 17. He pushed her away until she turned 18, then they dated. Ashton, who co-founded a tech company to fight child exploitation, publicly preaches protection, but is said to have moved with men who blurred age lines and thrived in silence. This wasn't just a party crew, it was the new Hollywood Rat Pack, a tight group shielding secrets and dodging accountability, with Ashton in the center. Now, Monis reportedly filed for divorce, as everything shifted when Ashton's name got tied to Diddy's scandal. The facade is cracking. Now it seems Ashton is flying solo. No Monis, no happy marriage facade, just a trail of unanswered questions and a circle of Hollywood insiders whose time might finally be up. But now it's your turn. Do you believe Monis really filed for divorce? Is Ashton an innocent bystander, or was he fully aware of what was happening behind the scenes? The bar, the parties, the underage rumors? Is this just typical Hollywood chaos, or something far darker? And here's the real kicker. Is Ashton under investigation, or is he hiding behind that exclusive Hollywood shield while the system works to protect him? Drop your theories, your hot takes, any proof you've got. We're watching this unravel live, and trust me, this rabbit hole runs deep. If you're following the madness, don't just scroll past. Smash that like button, subscribe, share this video, and hit the bell so you never miss the next explosive update. Because when it comes to what's really happening in Hollywood, we're just getting started. Catch you in the next one.